Hello, everyone, and welcome to my inquiry-based learning model narration/presentation. My name is Brendan Foster, and this is for Tech for Leading and Learning course. So let's jump right into it. Now, starting with the introduction, the origins of the inquiry-based learning model emerged in the early 1960s during the discovery learning movement. Now, basically, inquiry-based learning is a project-oriented pedagogic strategy based on constructivist and socio-constructivist theories of learning. According to the Computer Supported Inquiry Learning Database, inquiry learning is not about memorizing facts. It is about formulating questions and finding appropriate resolutions to questions and issues. Inquiry can be a complex undertaking, and it therefore requires dedicated and structural design and support to facilitate that students experience the excitement of solving a task or a problem on their own. Now let's move on to the 5 steps of inquiry-based learning. First step, asking questions. Asking begins with students' curiosity about the world, ideally with their own questions. The teacher can simulate the curiosity of the student by giving an introduction talk related to the concepts that had to be acquired. And now the second step, investigating, probing into various situations. Now asking naturally leads to investigating, which should exploit initial curiosity and lead to seek and create information. Student or groups of students collect information, study, collect, and exploit resources, experiment, look, interview, and draw, etc. Now, third step, creating, also including that conducting analysis and providing descriptions. Collected information begins to merge at this point. Students start making links. Here, the ability to synthesize meaning is the spark which creates knowledge. This leads to the fourth step, which is discussing, which basically entails communicating findings verbally or in writing. At this point, students share their ideas with each other and ask each other about their own experience or investigations. Such knowledge sharing is a community process of construction that they begin to understand the meaning of their own investigation. And now, the fifth and probably most important step, reflecting. This is where they think about the information and knowledge that they have obtained. This step consists in taking a look back, thinking again about the initial question, the path taken, and the actual conclusions. Students may look back and maybe take some new decisions along the way. Now, this brings us into the principles of learning. The key principles starting with number 1. All learning activities should focus on using information processing skills and applying the discipline, aka ground rules, as a means to learn content set in a broad conceptual context. Basically, learners are in the center of the entire process, while the instructors, resources, and technology are adequately organized to support them. Now, the second principle, inquiry learning puts the learner at the center of an active learning process, and the systematic elements are prepared or aligned to support the learner. The third principle, the role of the teacher becomes one of the facilitating in the learning process. The teacher also becomes a learner by finding out more about the learner in the process of inquiry learning. And now the fourth principle is emphasis should be placed on evaluating the development of information processing skills and conceptual understanding, and not the actual content of the field. Basically, what is assessed is what is valued. Therefore, more emphasis needs to be placed on assessing the development of information processing skills, nurtured habits of mind, or also the ground rules and conceptual understandings, rather than just on the content as a whole. This leads us to the advantages, the many advantages. I had just selected 5 for this to make it short and simple, but let's start. The first advantage of inquiry-based learning model is that it preps the brain for learning. Now, what that means is maybe starting class with a short activity would help a student absorb information throughout the day, and piquing their interest through an activity makes them inquire about something at the beginning of class, preparing their brain for learning through the intellectual stimulation. This leads us directly into the second advantage of cultivating skills for all areas of learning. Through inquiry-based learning, students build their comprehension, critical thinking, and communication skills. Continuous use of their cognitive skills helps not only in the class, but in day-to-day life. And also, that leads us into the promoting engagement. Promoting engagement. This active learning method encourages students to immerse themselves into the learning process. Through the exploration of different topics, they make connections, ask questions, and learn more efficiently as they reach their conclusions. This also enhances their learning, which is the fourth advantage. Inquiry-based learning infuses fun and engagement by letting students explore topics on their own. It also lets them creating their own learning processes. Students learn transferable skills which reinforce initiative and self-direction. This is how they learn to ask questions, discuss topics, collaborate on assignments, and also cooperate and collaborate with each other as well. And this is also leading into the last advantage, which is working across classroom settings, which is very important as this learning style is adaptable to almost any classroom setting, regardless of individual skill and or grade level. Now, this brings me into the future applications. This learning model will be applied to my future employment in PR and advertising, which is the focus of my major of mass communications, by helping me answer my own questions more efficiently and enhance my method of learning. I will be able to use all that I learned from this model, including all the steps, principles, as well as the advantages, in order to be successful and wiser because of it. Getting all this information on inquiry-based learning will translate very well into my major, as I previously stated. It's mass communications with an interest in PR and advertising, as they share similarities as they relate to concepts and methods of learning, as I previously discussed, of course. Now, this leads me into my conclusion. Inquiry-based learning uses different approaches, cultivating skills through the guided learning and small group discussions to apply reasoning to reach conclusions. This learning model helps students reach their potential by utilizing different methods of learning and adding another level of problem solving. It also applies to this course as it is an instructional course for educating, as inquiry-based learning allows instructors and educators the opportunity to allow students to fully explore problems and scenarios so that they can learn from not only the results, but also the process itself. And there is my works cited in MLA 8 format. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.